Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Japan Creative Center. Now, before we commence, I would like to inform everyone that photos and videos will be taken throughout the event, and selected ones will be uploaded onto our social networking sites and also the websites of JCC and Ikenobo Singapore chapter. So, if you have any concerns about this, please do not hesitate to let us know. We would also like to seek your kind cooperation to silence all the mobile devices so that it will not disrupt the demonstration today. Thank you for your understanding. Once again, welcome to JCC for invitation to Ikenobo Ikebana, an exhibition and demonstration by Ikenobo Singapore chapter. Today we are in for a treat because we have not just one, but 9 members of the Ikenobo Ikebana Society Singapore chapter who will be giving us an exclusive demonstration of Ikenobo Ikebana. The demonstration will be accompanied by a running commentary from Dr. Leonard Lim, who will also be giving us an introduction to the philosophy of Ikenobo Ikebana. A practicing dental surgeon, Dr. Leonard Lim is the founding president of Ikenobo Ikebana Society Singapore chapter. He has written books on Ikebana as well. Between 2014 and 2018, Dr. Lim studied at the Ikenobo Central Training Institute in Kyoto and was best student in every year of study. In 2018, he was selected to perform the floral offering at the Ikenobo Spring Festival at Rokkakudo Temple in Kyoto, a rare honor for a non-Japanese. His official rank now is Sokadoku, or First Grade Senior Professor. Without further ado, I will now hand over the floor to Dr. Leonard Lim. Dr. Lim, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and members of Ikenobo Society Singapore chapter. We are indeed very honored to be working with JCC to bring this event to you. It is one of our priorities of the society to promote and to bring awareness to the art of Ikebana in Ikenobo. Ikenobo is said to be the origin of Ikebana. Why? Ikebana has a history of more than 500 years. In fact, the recorded history of Ikenobo Ikebana dates back to 1462. Ikenobo was founded by actually a monk, a Buddhist monk that was sent by the Japanese royalty to China to study Buddhism and the various practices of Buddhism. When he came back, Ono no Imoko, our very first headmaster, started to practice and incorporate Buddhism into the daily lives of the Japanese. And based on the with the changing seasons of in Japan, beautiful flora and fauna, you find that Ikebana was developed into a traditional art form, first beginning as a Buddhist floral offering. So right now in Ikenobo, where our headquarters is in Rokkakudo in Kyoto, the temple still stands. Our headmaster, the 45th generation headmaster, is the headmaster of our school. Throughout the history of Ikebana, you find that there's a lot of evolution. And through this exhibition, basically I will run through, you find that we've actually separated most of the arrangements dating back to some 500 years. The origin of Ikebana first started with the more traditional Rika arrangement that you have on my right side. Those are standing arrangement. Over towards the back, we have some free-flowing flowers called freestyle. And over on this end, you will find the more simplistic style of shoka. So in Ikenobo, we practice 3 basic styles of arrangement, which we will show through our very talented young members who will share with you their passion for flowers. So without further ado, let me first introduce you to our first set of demonstrators, Irene. Irene has been studying Ikebana for about 7 years. She admires the uniqueness of enhancing the lines, flow, space, and character of plants in any arrangement. Next, we have Bibi. Bibi has been studying Ikebana for 6 or 8 years, and through Ikebana she has learned more about life, the interaction with flowers, and like-minded classmates. So in this first set of arrangements, Irene will be presenting a freestyle arrangement. In Japanese, it's called Jiyuga, free flowers. So in this style, you find that she's using two very modern containers, this acrylic glass containers, and as a form of anchoring, she uses bundled straw. Okay. So in Ikebana, we decide on the expression that we want to express in the arrangement. It's also free in the choice of materials that we pick, and there's also freedom in the choice of mechanics, how we hold the materials in place. In this case, a bundle of straw. This technique basically is a very traditional way where we arrange very large arrangements in the past, where we actually anchor big branches into this bundled straw. It's a traditional way of arranging without the modern way we have the pin holders, the pin frogs. Over at the other end, Bibi is arranging a more modern style called Shoka Shipputai. Shoka was first developed some 200 years ago, and during those times of Shoka, you find that arrangements were smaller. They were arranged in a place in the Japanese home called the tokonoma, or the tatami room, where the host will welcome the guests with a seasonal flower arrangement. In this particular form of shoga, Bibi is expressing the beauty of contrast. It's very important in any form of Ikebana, whether traditional or more modern, the emphasis of the harmony between opposites, yin and yang, or in Chinese, you find that yin and yang. Because between the interaction of opposites, something new is born. So this is very steeped in the tradition of Ikebana to have a beauty of contrast. Irene now is arranging using this very beautiful smoke tree, which is in season now. You can see that it's expressing the beauty of this very soft and delicate. This is a branch material, but this variety is more delicate to express the feeling of lightness through this smoke tree. She's going to give some sense of movement with this lime material, which is iris leaves. Okay. While Bibi is arranging this shoka style, this shoka style basically means, shoka means living flower. And this style of shoka that Bibi is arranging is called shoka shipputai. This style was developed by our current headmaster in the year 1977 in response to the modern times. You find that in modern homes of Japanese families, you find that where space is a constraint, you do not have the luxury of a tatami room. So in a more modern setting, you find that where space is crucial, you find that in this modern style, it can be placed in any modern setting. So she has arranged using this very beautiful looking stingray leaf and emphasizing its contrast with the veronicas. To add a bit of contrast, she has used yellow heliconias at the back. Okay. Okay, could you see now the form is coming to form? With Irene's arranging the beautiful form of of the smoke tree, contrasting it, giving a sense of movement and lightness with the lines of the iris leaves. Shoka arrangement on your left. Shoka arrangement, you find that what is typical of a shoka arrangement is the use of maximum 3 types of materials. The emphasis on shoka is the beauty of simplicity and elegance. She's arranging it facing the arrangement because when we're arranging, especially shoka, or for that matter in a lot of the other traditional styles or even modern styles, we would like to communicate with the materials because the materials themselves sometimes will give us an indication or give us hints of where or how they look more beautiful in which angle, in which twist and turn of the materials. So we express the beauty, the inner beauty of plants. Each of them have a special character. So we want to bring that. We don't want to force a form that is unnatural in this particular type of arrangement of shoka. I think both our arrangers are very deftly working through their arrangements. Yeah. Arranging Ikebana is therapeutic. You get into the world of the plants. You learn from the plants as well. That you are able to communicate, and you can see that from the life of plants, there are many things we can actually learn about life itself. For one, the first thing that I mentioned, relationships, yin and yang, opposites attract. So it's not good sometimes to have a partner who's too like-minded. You don't complement each other as much. Sometimes you need a bit of give and take. Okay? Likewise in Ikebana. We extend branches, but we also pull back to restrain. So there must be that balance. That balance is often an asymmetrical balance, an unbalanced kind of symmetry in a sense. And it is in this balance and harmony that we are able to create an arrangement that can speak to us in a personal way. To add color to arrangement and focus. So in this freestyle arrangement, you can see that the main focus is on the beauty of the form of the smoke tree. Very wispy, and with the lines you give a sense of movement, and as if sometimes you can imagine in our very hot weather a breeze that is blowing through the blades of the leaves. That gives a sense of movement, a sense of lightness, and this is anchored at the base of the arrangement with this beautiful Eustoma flowers. So there's extension, and you also try and pull back. Okay? Over in that arrangement, the Shoka Shibutai arrangement, you can see that the main focus is to emphasize the beauty, the special character of the stingray leaf. Find that the leaf looks like a stingray, that's why it's called stingray leaf. And it harmonizes or it contrasts with the flowers that is around it, and to give a sense of color contrast, to brighten the contrast, yellow heliconia is placed in the back of the arrangement to bring out the contrast of flowers. If you look at the shoka arrangement, traditionally in a tatami room where shoka was first developed, you find that the correct way of appreciating shoka arrangement, tatami room, everybody is seated on the floor. So as the guest is treated to this arrangement, they first bow to the arrangement to appreciate first As they bow, their eyes slowly rise up to appreciate the vase, representing the source of life. Above the level of the vase, you can see that all the materials are placed in one line, front and back of each other. This is what we call the Mizubiwa, or the water stage. It is very important in shoka arrangement where this is expressed because this represents the transition between death and life, the beginning of life, one life. And then as it proceeds further up, you are able to see the various forms, the stages of life, the contrast, the differences, the relationships between the materials in their assigned spaces. So that's the beauty of shoka. Beauty in simplicity and elegance, celebrating the life of plants. Okay? Okay, just give us a moment. Prepare for the next set. All the finished arrangements will be placed at the back in the corridor, which you can see and close up later. You'll find that what's typical of Ikebana classes is in Ikenobo school. We have typical classes like this, where we arrange shoka arrangements, where the mouth is usually wider than the base. It looks a bit unstable, but actually the material that it's made up of, and when we fill it with pebbles, it's actually very stable. This is to bring a sense of elegance, that something is wide at the top, and it tapers down to give that feeling of lightness. For our next set of demonstrators, we have Irene here. Irene has been studying Ikebana for 8 years now, and has found Ikebana to help deepen her understanding of both art and life. Next we have Xian from China. She's been with us for many years. She began her journey in Ikebana about 8 years ago, and she enjoys being drawn closer to nature through Ikebana. It opens her eyes to appreciate the silent and unseen struggles in plants. Today, what they will be doing is, both of them will be arranging shoka arrangement. But earlier I mentioned the first arrangement you saw, the shoka arrangement was shoka shibutai. That had a history of about since 1997. In this set of demonstration, Irene will be arranging shoka shofutai, which is traditional shoka, which has a history of about 200 years. And she will be arranging shoka shibutai, a more modern form of shoka arrangement. Alright? Okay. In shoka arrangement, we find that what Irene will be doing, the traditional shoka arrangement, you may have read or come across in books about Ikebana, about this term called heaven, zen, and earth, which forms the three main stems in Ikebana arrangement. But there are many schools in Ikebana. Each of them will have slightly different versions of the philosophy. So what I'm going to explain to you is the Ikenobo way of arranging shoka based on the idea of heaven, man, and earth. Something we call Shin, Sui, and Tai. Okay? We use 3 different kinds of materials. Japanese like to use odd number of stems. Okay? 3, 5, 7, 9 is good. 2 is fine. The only acceptable even number is 2, because 2 is a pair. A pair is a good thing, you have company. 3, 5, and 7. The idea behind this is that when we have an idea of an uneven number, the idea is that it is not the end yet, it's not complete yet, it's not even yet, so that you are going through life, things are changing, things are going to happen, things are evolving all the time. There is the beauty of change. Choka emphasizes beauty of change. Okay, change in nature. So in this Choka arrangement of traditional Choka, the first tallest material, we had the concept of heaven, man, and earth. You would think that the biggest or the most significant of these 3, heaven, man, and earth, would be heaven, being over everywhere. No. In the Ikenobo sense, man is the most important. Okay? So man stays right in the center. Towards the back you have heaven. Towards the front you have the earth. That is, man exists between the heavens and the earth. Okay? So that is our concept of ideology of the Shoka arrangement. This represents, man represents present. Soe at the back represents the past. The front, the time, where we use the smallest flower or buds, that represents the future. And usually when we arrange in a traditional form, in the tokonoma, there are 2 kinds of a tokonoma. One we call a hongkate, which is correct, the right side arrangement, and the other is a gyakukate. So the structure of a tokonoma is different. So you can arrange, if your tokonoma is a hongkate style, you can only arrange a hongkate style of shoka arrangement. And likewise, gyakukate. It depends on where the beam is, where the window is, where the light is received and bounce on the wall, that is considered the bright side. And there's also a specific sitting arrangement when you enter a tokonoma where it's Ikebana. The host will sit on the Soe side. You see that some of these arrangements, the second tallest stand, our main plate, the arranger is always placed on the Soe side. This is the host. This side, on the right side, we present butts. That is for the guests. Some may argue that it's the bud more beautiful than the open flower at the top. To the Japanese, no, the bud is considered most beautiful because it represents what is to come, the future. So we are presenting that to our guests to show them that we wish them good wishes for the future, what is to come. Okay? So there's a lot of philosophy going on in the traditional shoka. Okay? Here she's arranging a 3-material shoka. The alien flowers that stands tall. This is supported by a branch material, which is the maple leaves. And in the front she's arranging freesias. You can see that the freesias are rather small flowers. Some of them are not fully bloomed. So we have Shin, Soe, and Tai. In this Sanshiriki arrangement, we find that this is a more modern form of the shoka traditional arrangement that was developed after World War II, when they had an influx of more non-traditional materials entering to Japan, which has a more modern appearance. But traditionally, a Sanshiriki arrangement like this, 200 years ago, was arranged with only 3 kinds of material that the Japanese arranged Sanshiriki in shoka. Something we call Shochikubai. The 3 important materials are pine, bamboo, and plum. These three arrangements are arranged as a set in different forms in the shoka arrangement. New Year's Day, at a very important congratulatory, very solemn events, weddings. Because each of these has special characteristics that we are trying to marry different characters together and blending them into arrangement that one enhances the beauty of the other. So there's lots of contrast, there's lots of complementing. Okay, I've talked a lot about Shokutai. Now Shokashibutai, you could see that she has finished arrangement. In a Shikutai arrangement, you can see earlier I mentioned the idea of change. Change is very important to express the passing of time. In that change, you can see that one of the main materials that she arranged is a half-withered leaf. Is that beautiful? To some, but not to others. A lot of times, when we are not used to Ikebana, we are used to seeing flowers that are fresh, big, lots of it, and blooms or leaves that are fresh and green, that we consider it to be beautiful. But in an Ikebana sense, a half-withered leaf tells a lot more. The struggles it has been through, it has transformed, it has evolved to what it is now. Without that, without the past, you will not have the present. So it is a way of interpreting past and present, marrying to arrangement to show the contrast between the beauty of not only in fresh, new materials, but in materials that have had a lot of history. So the contrast between the surface material and the Omi Nayashi, there's a flower at the center, and the anchoring of the small little orange flowers at the base to mark what we call the Mizugiwa, the water stage, the area that represents life and death, the transition period. I think Irene is almost finishing. These are branch materials, so sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to insert them into the. Here we're using the pin holder, Kenzai. In a shoka arrangement, depth is very important. The beauty of shoka is the emphasis of line and space. So while we have flowers in the front, we also need to emphasize the back area, so that when we look at arrangement, our eyes travel from front to back. It doesn't just end at the back. It goes beyond the last arrangement. So that also is showing that sense of movement. Alright. So this is shoka Sanshuike, tree material shoka, showing the contrast of beauty between colors, between forms, flowering, flowers, grass materials, and branch materials as well. Okay? So, thank you. Here you can see that the shapes of the containers have changed. So from here you can see that we are heading towards a style called freestyle, a more modern form of expression. Hence you see this abstract shaped pair of containers and another just aluminum bowl over there. Okay. In this set we have Hong Fei here. Hong Fei has been studying Ikebana since 2022. She sees Ikebana arrangement as a quiet moment where nature and the heart meet to honor simplicity and celebrate the beauty of life. On her right is Aziz. Aziz started his journey in Ikebana 7 years ago. As Ikebana enriches his living space with refined beauty and allows him a medium for personal expression. Both demonstrators now will be arranging freestyle, but you find that in freestyle, earlier I did mention there is freedom of choice of expression. So the expression in these two styles you will see will be quite different, where Hongfei will be presenting a more naturalistic form of freestyle, and Aziz will be arranging a more abstract form of freestyle. So the choice is up to the arranger to choose that expression. So without further ado, please start. Here, Hongfei is using also the mechanics. She's used straws. Straws can be inserted into the mouth of the container, because as the straws are placed in, there are spaces within the straws that you can actually insert the stems in. Depending on the size of the materials, you need to consider your mechanics. When the mouth is big enough, sometimes you use floral foam. Over the right side, you can see Aziz is using a thin floral foam that is lining that container. Here, Hongfei is emphasizing the beauty of these surface materials. You find that in freestyle, we can also have other tools in our armamentarium, such as wires, so that we're able to give the materials bend them at a desired angle to show the best side that we can. So freestyle, in a sense, we can express the space by wiring so that we can move the materials in various places. You find that this is different from the Shoka style earlier. Shoka style, no use of wires or any additional aids. So materials as they are. So in freestyle, we can choose to use different tools such as wires, different mechanics, straws, floral foam. So as you can see that as Hongfei is building up her form, the overall shape, she's emphasizing the beauty of the surfaces, and to contrast the beauty of the green surfaces, she's using very beautiful pink anthuriums, and they're all flowing towards one direction, showing a common movement. Movement is very important in Ikebana because movement represents life. All things that have life move. So Ikebana arrangement celebrates life. We need to see a form of movement, even if it's subtle. Movement may not be so direct as a line that moves from left to right. Movement may be the movement as seen through the gradation of colors, from dark to light, light to dark. And over on the right side, you can see that as Aziz is arranging a more abstract, avant-garde kind of arrangement of freestyle, you can see the movement of this barley wheat that slowly starts to increase in height. From short, it gets taller and taller, and it moves in a particular direction. Okay? So movement, however subtle, is very important aspect of Ikebana. Movement equals life. Okay. So while Conway has done her overall framework, the shape of her arrangement, she's now trying to anchor the materials, the whole arrangement with these beautiful Eustoma flowers, pinkish and whitish flowers. In Japanese, this is called Toriko Kikyo, Turkish bell flower. Okay? There are many varieties of these flowers that is found, many different colors, and they are very beautiful and they last. Okay? So you can see that in an arrangement, when we arrange freestyle, we can broadly categorize materials as having surface, having lines, having points, and sometimes when we group them together, we form masses. Each of them will say something or give you a certain impression. So when we study freestyle, we make use of our knowledge of, we'll try to deconstruct and put them back together again in a refreshing way. That must have a sense of movement, sense of contrast, yet they must be harmonized. Earlier I mentioned yin and yang as important principles in Ikebana, but there's another as important, if not more important, quality or expression in Ikebana, which is called wa. In Chinese character is that wa is harmony. We cannot just have contrast, then there will be just war if there's no harmony. So there must be some contrast to give you a sense of interest, to give you that element of surprise. But at the same time, something needs to unite everything, all the various elements together, so that your arrangement appears as a arrangement that is one and not disjointed. Okay. Abstract containers are used. You find that because of the small mouth openings of the container, we can use various different techniques. So with practice, you find that we don't let the containers determine the form of our arrangement because of this limitation of the mouth opening. But with the use of wires, with the use of different techniques and different materials that is used to anchor the flowers, we can have a more varied form or expression. You can see that Conway is using materials that show the natural form of the materials, the surface, the leaves, the surface of the anterior flowers, and some more concentrated points with the Eustoma or the Turkish bell flower. Whereas over the right side, Aziz is arranging a more abstract, more avant-garde kind of arrangement, emphasis on lines, points, and interesting surfaces. It's almost like you go to a lot of restaurants, they have fusion food, they have things that have been deconstructed. So in a way, this is a bit like also cooking, creating a new dish with a different expression. All the elements are there, but you find it presented in a new way, so that you are able to focus on lines and focus on surface, focus on the points, but within that arrangement, something just works and links and connects. So Ikebana, freestyle, is free, but in the Japanese form, nothing is really that free, at least in the beginning. There are rules that we have to abide by, principles that we need to observe. So, it's learn the basics. After that, you try and experiment new things. At the end of it, you create your own style. But the first two steps are equally or very important. So it's not totally free, but it's freedom based on past experience, based on your experience, your encounters, and lessons you learned about the basic principles of freestyle before you can create your own style. And creating freestyle sometimes, personally I find it is also very difficult. Currently I'm studying freestyle with my current mentor professor since last year. I just started my second year of studies. So I'll be studying freestyle for 3 years with my professor. So each time after I finish my arrangement, or before any arrangement is being seen by the professor will ask, what are you trying to say in your arrangement? What is your theme? And for some of the newer students who are not used to being asked why, you find that it is actually very tough. So there is a lot of responsibility that lies with the arranger. Plants, flowers, leaves are beautiful on its own. You cut them, you terminate their life, you are tasked. You have the responsibility to make them more beautiful, or if not, as beautiful as they were in nature. So you must use them effectively to tell your story, to express your feeling, that when the arranger looks at the arrangement, they will have a feeling. Something moves inside. They will know what you are trying to say, or at least get an idea of what you are saying. So freestyle, while it is free, it must send a message. It must be clear. Because you find that there are flowers, branches, leaves are beautiful on its own. But as we start to arrange, we sometimes forget. This is beautiful. Oh, then this is beautiful. And this is beautiful. At the end of it, you end up with a Singapore dish, rojak. Okay? Which is very good too, but too many things happening. Okay? So, I think Aziz has finished his arrangement. You can see the movement from small to big, from tall to short. It moves in a certain direction and is accented by the points, the contrast that is above the water surface. And you find that as a variation, these are actually magnolia leaves that stands proud to give a sense of that green, that focal point. Okay? In our exhibition, there is also a similar exhibition done by Dora on the outside here. You can see the movement of the lines and the space as well. Okay, so I think Hong Fei has finished the arrangement in two parts to express the beauty of the natural form of the leaves, the bright and luscious green leaf, and the beauty of the anthuriums, contrasted and anchored by the Lysianthus flowers. Okay, so I give them a standing for a friend who is not well today. So, on-call performance by Arian. Okay, and along with Irene, we have Jessica. Jessica from Hong Kong, from one of my good friends, student who has come to be a part of our family here. So we are very happy that we have our friends and families from Hong Kong, from China, from different parts of the world, from Indonesia as well. Okay, Jessica started studying Ikebana 11 years ago as she appreciates the beauty and the quiet strength of nature in Ikebana. In this set of arrangements, both of them will be arranging a different style. Jessica will be arranging a naturalistic freestyle, while Irene will be arranging a Shoka Shibutai. Shoka Shibutai, earlier I mentioned, is a more modern form of Ikebana, of Shoka arrangement. Hence you find that the appearance of a very modern glass container such as this can be used in a Shoka arrangement. Alright, maybe we shouldn't talk too much. Please start while I continue to make. You'll notice in a Shoka arrangement, all the vases have a very level mouth. The reason being is that in Shoka arrangements, I mentioned Nisugiwa, the water stage. To be able to appreciate that 2-3 centimeters of singleness of the stem above the vase, we need a vase mouth that is horizontal so that we can see the emergence of the Mizugiwa. Because the Mizugiwa represents life, the beginning of life. Okay? So in this arrangement, you can see that she's using this very interesting line branch material. Okay, honeysuckle, not too familiar. Okay, this beautiful honeysuckle that rises and hangs, cascades down, contrasting it with a branch, a woody material. In Ikebana, we sometimes categorize materials according to their strength. One way that Ikenobo categorize materials is in wood material, grass material, and then there's another group of material that has some qualities of wood and grass, something we call Tsuyo mono. So Ki mono, Kusa mono, and Tsuyo mono that has characteristics of. So here this is grass, this is wood. So each of them have their various kind of character. So we try to bring them out sometimes together as a form of contrast. Okay? And just for and over on the other side, you can see that coincidentally both of them are using a similar material, which is the maple leaf. Jessica is creating a very beautiful and naturalistic free-flowing style, emphasizing the beauty of the maple leaves. Again, we have branch materials, we have materials that extends, that separates, that branches out to give a sense of tightness, a sense of movement as well. She uses the line of, this is what we call Okinawa Shaga. This line leaves that Jessica is facing. It's called Okinawa Shaga. It's very lasting. It's very good to use in Ikebana. Let's use some small glandulous like flowers, the orange flowers, to bring out the sense. So in her arrangement, I can see almost like an autumn kind of colors. Okay, now while I speak, you can see that Irene has more or less done the arrangement. Okay? Okay, so we will take a look at the arrangement. This is to show the contrast between a branch, wood material, and the grass material. And this is anchored in the front by just a simple bloom of chrysanthemum. The color you find that is yellow, and then it gives some form of contrast that anchors the arrangement at the base near the Mizugiwa. If you can see, everything appears as a single line, the Mizugiwa. The Mizugiwa, beginning of life, Mizugiwa represents one life. So everything is united in that moment. You can see the movement of the line. It rises, it hangs, but this is rising. So the movement is contrasted in that sense. And the yellow flower anchors the arrangement towards the base. I think as we speak, you see that Jessica is arranging in two parts. Her vase is wide, so she is able to express the feeling of the vastness of the, perhaps this is an impression of a scene during autumn. She has all the colors of autumn there, and with a touch, now placing chrysanthemum, and chrysanthemum is an autumn flower. While we extend materials, we pull back. Okay? The term pulling back we call shimeru or hiki shimeru, to pull back and to tighten up. So we have a lot of movement that is extending, that is flowing, that is good. But we don't want things to be just going up and not coming back. So that slight pull back helps to ground the arrangement. And that pulling back effect is usually we pull back very lightly so that we can show the unbalance, the imbalance, the exaggerated asymmetry of the whole composition. And that is important in Ikebana. So you find that in our arrangements, a lot of times for the traditional arrangements, it is top heavy and towards the base is very light. So I think this, how about this for a very naturalistic autumn scene, using the maple, lines of the Okinawa shaga, some orange, yellow flowers. Okay, so without further ado, we hang them. So you see a lot of freestyle, naturalistic, non-naturalistic or abstract. You see the traditional shoka. You've seen the modern shoka, the shoka shibutai. Now we will move into a style that a lot of students, when they want to study Ikenobo, this is their goal, to be able to arrange Rika arrangement. Okay. And here to present to us Rika, we have Rachel. Rachel is from China. Okay. Rachel has been studying Ikebana for more than 10 years. She was once studying in Singapore, but she left and her husband was posted overseas. But we welcomed her back again a couple of years ago. But all the while, she's been continuing in her journey in Ikebana. So she found Ikebana to be a living art that easily weaves itself into our daily lives. And this is important because Ikebana is just not for show. Ikebana, as our current headmaster hopes to promote the message, is that Ikebana is part of daily living. It's not only a culture of the art, it's a culture of the heart. Something that you can cultivate. So as we arrange Ikebana, as we beautify or we enhance the beauty of the flowers, in turn, the flowers will enhance our lives. So it is a symbiotic relationship between flowers, nature, and our lives. Okay? We enhance, in turn, our lives are enhanced by the beauty of the flowers. Rika arrangement started 500 years ago or so. In the older days when Rika was arranged, the term that was used to describe the arrangement of Rika was not arrange, but construct. And the other word that was used in the Japanese term is called tateru, to stand. Because Rika literally means standing flowers. Why is it standing? You find that in all the Rika arrangements, above the edge of the vase, there is a clump grouping of stems that stands straight. That is the standing part. That shows the part like in Shoga, the Mizugiwa, the beginning of life. But in Rika, the original idea of Rika was to paint the beauty of a natural landscape. So in Rika, there are 9 basic parts, 9 main branches, what we call yakueda. They form the framework of the arrangement. They paint the beauty of a natural scene. Okay, the tall materials, the sheen, represent the distant mountains. Towards the front, you find that there is the ravines in the hills. And right in the front, you have the fields, in the flower fields. And within the arrangement, we have the flow of the rivers from the high mountains down to the ravines, down to the hill, and out to the ocean. Here you will see also the movement of the colors from top, left, mid, right, and goes down. So it moves. And here we are using very tropical materials to express the Rika arrangement, which is different from traditional where we have branch materials. Because when we have branch materials, we have grass materials, we use them differently because there is something what we call the path of the flowers. The path of the flowers, the flow of the flowers, kusamichi. Grass that has a path that flows, that doesn't interrupt, that weaves itself within the form of the Rika. Here, this is a more modern interpretation using very tropical materials. This ginger flowers as a shin. Shin is the main, the 2 tall stems. Over at the right, that is called uke. Uke is to receive. Right in the center, the purple Beatrice flower, that is called the shoshin, the center, that forms the center part. In this arrangement, you find that there's a lot of extension, but there's a lot of some degree of pulling back at the center to ground the arrangement. It is akin to one of my professors will say breathing. When we are even when you are sleeping or when you're in your daily life, you breathe in, you breathe out. The same with an arrangement. As you breathe out, you extend. But you just can't breathe out all the time and extend. You need to breathe in and take it back as well. So there needs to be some pulling back. That pulling back shouldn't be equal to the extension. Then the effect is cancelled. We want an asymmetry. Extend 90%, pull back 10%. To show that asymmetry, that unbalance, that where there is an unbalance, when material looks unbalanced, it seems as if it's going to fall or topple, but miraculously it doesn't. It shows the strength of what you pull back, what you tighten. that requires energy. And you can express that form of energy in the arrangement. That also helps to suggest life. Something is happening, something is pulling it back. Okay, so you can see that we have 9 parts. Now she has placed 4 parts. Shin in the upper level, Uke in the mid section on the other side, and this last one, the shortest one, Hikai. Hikai is to wait. He waits in the back. It gives a sense of depth towards the back. So you can see the flowers flowing from top, mid, and they don't flow just down in one side. We connect left to right, right to left. And we don't want to connect in a way that it is like this. Japanese will call it banzai. And that is too symmetrical. When it is too symmetrical, there is no movement. There is no dynamism. So we create that sense of movement from top, mid, and lower, left, right, left, and we connect from one side to another side. And the leaves, palm leaves are used below shin as soy. Soy is to assist, to help. And the top area, the taller palm leaf, extends to the top, slightly to the back, to give a sense of that looking over. We call mikoshi. Okay? Now she's adding the 8th part. It's called do. Do means body. So the central part of the arrangement. That helps to ground the central part of the arrangement. You have lots of extension, but you need something to pull back, to ground the arrangement. When Rika was first arranged, the term used was to construct. Now it's arranged because it's much smaller. Traditionally, a Rika arrangement, during the time Rika was arranged, only men arranged Ikebana. Women were not allowed to touch flowers in public. Because Ikebana in those days was a man's world. And the people who arranged Ikebana at those times of Rika were the samurais, were the feudal lords, were the royalty. The only other people that are non-royalty probably will be the monks. So those are the people who arranged. And in those days when Rika was first arranged, they had no pin holder, they used only straw. But using the straw, the bundled straw, they can create Rika works that is a classical Rika, that was very famous Rika, that was arranged in Maeda Mansion, was 7 meters wide, 7 meters wide, 2 meters deep, and 3 meters high. That was the size of a standard Rika. And during those days, only the rich, only the feudal lords are able to do that and present that kind of arrangement in their mansions. So the term used was to construct. Literally, those days, no nails, everything was sawed and somehow wedged. So you can find that even in those days in Ikebana, carpentry work was very important. They were excellent carpenters to construct a tree trunk, branch, or pine tree that extends way up to about 3 meters high and still stands in a container that maybe is only about this table length, half of this table length. Okay? Okay, even as I speak, she's placed the last 2 parts towards the base in the front, which is called Maioki. That actually grounds the arrangement towards the front. And on her right side, the variegated leaves, the Japanese bamboo. That is called nagashi, which means to flow. So if you take a look at this arrangement emphasizes the beauty of space in a 360-degree fashion. But this space is asymmetrical. If you take a look at the overall form, we have a term called ucho satan. Right long, left short. Okay? There is idea of asymmetry. One side is different from the other side. One side is long, the other side is short. One side is round, the other side is more angular. So the basic form is one side is more rounded, the other side is sharper. But in a more modern interpretation, we can many different variations based on this principle of asymmetry, left and right sides being different. In Ikebana, the back part of the arrangement is as important as the front. Remember, Ikebana is about line and space, and that space is 360 degrees. We emphasize depth. Your eyes must see front, and it extends beyond the last leaf or stem. Traditionally, this arrangement takes about, the one with the branches, takes about 3 days to complete one arrangement. But in the more modern form, you find that this takes a few hours. Lots of patience. Most patients start very nicely in the top, on the outside. As they reach towards the center and towards the base, a lot of us will tire and run out of steam towards the end. But towards the end, that is a very important part. But at the end of it, when you're able to visualize everything and understand the concept, you find that it is a beautiful harmony of differences that is placed in assigned spaces. So this is Rika Shofutai, traditional Rika. So we hope you have picked up a thing or two from today's presentation. Some of us will still be around. We'll all be around till about 6 before we close up. There are a lot of different arrangements. Feel free to ask, approach any of us for any further explanation. If you'd like to join us too, you're most welcome to join our society. So without further ado, let me just thank Kawabe-san. Thank you. Thank you, JCC. For giving us this platform, this opportunity to be able to share with you a bit about the history and what we do in Ikenobo, Ikebana.
Alors,
Thank you very much, Dr. Lim, for the explanation, and to the demonstrators. Thank you so much for your demonstrations. Let's just give them another round of applause. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the demonstration. We hope that you've learned something new about Ikenobo, Ikebana today. I know that I have really learned a lot of things today, and we hope that you've enjoyed watching the demonstration. The exhibition will still be ongoing, so if you haven't gotten the chance to view all of the arrangements, we invite you to do so after this. This is a one-day exhibition only for today. We will be open until 6 p.m. So if you have any friends or family who are in the area, do invite them to view the exhibition. Now, before you leave, we would like to seek your kind cooperation to help us fill up a feedback form regarding your experience at JCC. The form can be done by scanning the QR code at the reception area located by the glass doors. I think the QR code will also show up on the screen shortly. So thank you everyone for taking time to visit JCC today, and we hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you. May I also invite everyone to please stand at the sides so that we may clear the chairs so that we all can have a more comfortable viewing experience of the exhibition. Thank you.
Io